Hey everyone, welcome to a new Minecraft tutorial. In this tutorial I will show you how to make a simple item sorter which can sort 4 different kinds of items into a set of double chests. This design is stackable, so you can increase it to sorting 8, 12 or more items. If you rotate the chest 90 degrees, you get a more compact design which will sort 2, 4, 6 or more items depending on the number of layers. You can easily tweak this system to fit your needs, it's very flexible. The reason I call this design simple is because it does not involve any complicated redstone. It just consists of hoppers, waterways to transport your items, and your standard item filter modules. One downside of this sorting system is that it requires a huge amount of hoppers, so it's best to only build this storage system if you have access to an iron farm. This storage system is also not very compact, requiring 4 blocks of space above and in front of the chests, and also behind the chests. In the worlds where I've built this system, however, I integrated the item filters into the ceiling and it actually looks really nice. Alright, with that introduction out of the way, let's move over to my creative world, where I will show you how to build one of these. Here you can see one of these sorting modules which I built recently. Here at the bottom you have these rows of chests where the items get sorted into. You can extend this system very far if you like. These chests that are above each other will all be used to sort the same items. So if the bottom chest is full, items will get moved into the second chest, the third chest and so on. Remember, you can always stack the chests up higher if you want to. I used 3 here for no particular reason. Here at the left you will find the overflow chests. Any items that don't match any of the item filters in the system will end up in these chests. This includes unstackable items like armor, weapons, etc. Here at the back you will find the input of the system. It's simply a hopper connected to a dropper with a little circuit that continuously triggers it if it detects items inside. You could put a chest on the hopper to put your items in, or you could simply place a shulker with items on the hopper. Other, less noisy pulse circuits are possible to trigger the dropper, but I like this one because it's very compact and easy to build. If you use a faster circuit, you will run the risk of overloading the item filters, and some of your sortable items will probably end up in the overflow chests. What makes this system different from most item sorters out there is that it has multiple item filter modules connected to a hopper line feeding into the chests. You can see this more clearly if we look at the system from the side. There are some water pathways to lead all the items over the hoppers, but you could also replace the water with hoppers to move the items forward. This could, for example, be useful when you build this system in the nether. Here you can see one of the standard item filters, of which there have already been a million tutorials so far. As you can see, these item filters have been set to filter out all the diorite items. If we now fill our shulker with diorite objects, they should all end up in the chest below these item filters. Any items we don't have a filter for, like the deep slate, should end up in the overflow chest. Because this system was built with 2 layers, it allows us to sort 8 items per set of double chests. In our case, this is enough to sort out all diorite items. For some other stone types, like deep slate or black stone, it may be necessary to add more layers, to space out your chests more so you can redirect more hoppers into your chests, or to simply choose to do some of the sorting manually and only use this system for the stuff which you have a lot of. Alright, now let's move on to the part where I show you how to build this. First off, build your chests. You can have up to 4 double chests next to each other, but in this example I will just use 2. You can stack up these chests as high as you want it to be, but make sure you can easily reach the top one. Put pillars in between the sets of chests and finish off with a non-solid block like stairs above your highest chest. This will ensure the redstone above is not visible while still allowing you to open the chests. Now go behind your chests and for each chest place a hopper facing into it. On top of these hoppers, stack 3 more hoppers, all facing downwards. Now stand on top of your highest downward facing hopper, and on the front and on the back place a hopper facing into it. Now it's time to work on the item filters. Starting from the sides of the last hoppers you placed, place 3 solid blocks. Do this on both sides. Go below these 3 blocks and place another block on the row in the middle, forming a Tetris T-shape. Place redstone torches on the side that is facing the hoppers. On the opposite side of the torches, place a helper block and put a slab underneath it. Remove the helper block and continue this row of slabs all the way to the other end. When the slabs are placed, put repeaters on them at their standard setting. Place another row of blocks behind the repeaters. I recommend putting some light sources between the 2 redstone torches and the repeaters, because redstone blinking will cause light updates in dark areas and can cause lag. Go back to the top and place comparators on the block you built next to the hoppers. After that, place redstone on the 2 blocks next to it and the block below it that we used to cover up the repeaters. Now hold shift and place hoppers facing into the comparators. These will be your item filters. We will fill these with items later in the tutorial. Now it's time to make waterways to transport your items over the hoppers. Remember, you can also use a chain of hoppers to move your items through the system. In this example, I will make a very simple waterway, but your eventual waterway should transport your items over all your hoppers in the sorting system. Before you start your waterway, you'll have to think how you want your items transported through the system. At the beginning, there should be an item input, possibly with a water elevator, and at the end, there should be an overflow chest. For this example, I will first make the waterway, then make the item input and the overflow chest afterwards. Place packed ice or blue ice blocks to make a path over the sets of hoppers. Place blocks around the air above the hoppers and ice blocks to make a waterway. I will use glass in this example so you can see the items flowing. This will also make it easier for you to see if your items are getting stuck anywhere. Place slabs above the ice blocks, leaving a small gap for the items to pass underneath. Place water on the block next to the slabs, making sure the water goes in the direction you want it to. Do not place the water on the slabs, as this will make the water flow in the wrong direction. With some clever ice, water and slab placement, you can make compact turnarounds for your water stream when you need them. For the end of the water stream, simply lead the items into a set of hoppers, which then lead into a set of chests. This is where all items that do not get filtered end up. It's important to have an overflow chest, so you don't lose any items. For the item input, it's important that your items enter the water stream from the side. If the items don't enter the stream from the side, they might get stuck in the middle of the hoppers. For your water elevator, first determine where you want it to be. Then place a block of soul sand on the bottom and build a tube of blocks around it. I always like to use glass here. Remove a glass block at the bottom and replace it with a dropper facing into the tube. Next to the dropper, place a block with a comparator on top facing outwards. Next to this block, place a sticky piston with an observer on top, facing towards the comparator. Above the comparator, place an observer facing towards the other observer. This circuit will pulse if it finds anything inside the dropper. Now place a hopper facing into the dropper and put a chest or a shulker on top. If you now put any items in it, the dropper will shoot out the items. You can also put items in the dropper directly to make it faster, but this might eventually overwhelm your item filters. To finish the water elevator, put water sources in the glass tube. In survival mode, you can do this very easily by filling the tube with ice, then breaking the blocks from above. Here, I will just use a water bucket. Make sure to place blocks above your water elevator to prevent items from shooting out, and make sure that the water flows towards your water stream at the top. Now it's time to set up the item filters. First off, you will need to rename several stacks of an item like seeds, which you would normally throw away anyway. Go to the hoppers facing into the comparators and put one of these renamed items into every slot of each of these hoppers. I don't recommend putting more than one of these in every slot of the hopper, as it may cause the item filters next to it to break when the system gets overloaded. Now choose which items you want to get sorted in the chest below the hoppers. This item sorter can only sort items which are stackable, so stuff like armor will not work. In this example, I will let this chest sort diorite blocks and slabs. To do that, simply put some of the objects you want to sort into the first slot of the hopper. If we now put some diorite blocks and some deep slate into the input chest, the diorite will get sorted into the chest we chose for this, and the deep slate will end up in the overflow chest since we did not configure an item filter for it. Sometimes some of your sorted items may end up in the top chest instead of the bottom chest, so don't forget to check the top chest if it looks like some of your items went missing. To decorate the item sorter, you can place some slabs in front of the stairs that are above the chests to close up the gap in the ceiling. By using some nice materials for the item filter modules, you can make a pretty cool looking ceiling. You could also put some cross beams in between your item sorter modules. Alternatively, you could extend the entire system upwards with a few extra hoppers and then place your own ceiling under it. Something which you may want to do is to place some scaffolding behind the chests to help you reach the item filter modules. It might also be a good idea to place some walkways in the middle so you can easily walk to the other side. Remember to light up this area, especially the redstone components. Normally, you would place this sorting system in a hallway with chests on both sides. The system requires quite a bit of space on the front of the chests and on the back, so your hallway should probably be 8 or 9 tiles wide. You can simply repeat the pattern on the other side. If sorting 4 items per set of double chests is not enough for you, you can stack this sorting system. meaning you can expand it to sort 8 or 12 items per chest. Making an extra layer on this item sorter is very easy. First, I recommend removing the water from the system. When the water has been removed from the system, remove the blocks above the row of hoppers in the middle and place 4 more downward facing hoppers above them. When that is done, place 2 hoppers facing into every topmost hopper on the front and on the back. After that, simply repeat making item filters and waterways. You may need an extra water elevator to get items from the first layer to the second layer. Alternatively, you could instead simply start items on the top layer and simply drop them down to lower layers as they progress. It's a good idea to limit the number of water elevators in your system, as the bubbles they generate will cause lag if there are many of them. Alright, here you can see the final system. Again, I advise putting down some scaffolding so you can easily climb up to all the item filters. I also recommend making some walkways in the middle so you can easily cross over to the other side and to light up the redstone. There are several more ways you can tweak this system, which I will briefly go over in the rest of the video. If you want the system to be more compact, you can rotate your chests by 90 degrees. This will however only allow you to sort 2 items per layer of item filters instead of 4. For items like deep slate, which have a lot of variations, you could space out the chests a little bit more by putting some blocks next to them. This will allow you to direct more hoppers into them, meaning you could sort 8 or more items per layer of item filters. If you want to use your space more efficiently, you could decide to only put the item sorters on the front of the chests. I made a cutout of a storage room here, where for the chests in the middle, I only put the item filters on the front. This allows you to place down more chests there. For these chests that have been rotated 90 degrees, this means you can sort only 1 item per stack of chests. The chests on the other side all have 2 item filters leading into them, meaning you can sort 2 items per stack of chests. Of course, this number increases if you stack the sorting system. I already mentioned it briefly in the video, but you can also replace the waterways with a hopper chain to move the items forward. This could especially be useful when building this system in the nether. Water elevators will also not work in the nether, so transporting your items up might be a little bit more tricky. If you build this system in the nether, I simply recommend placing your item input at the highest level and letting the hopper chain finish on the lowest level. Items can simply be transported downwards with hoppers. Alternatively, you could also build a dropper elevator for your items to transport them upwards. If you decide to use a hopper chain, you can put composters on top of them to improve the game performance a bit. Alright, I think that was enough for this tutorial. If you have any more questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. If this tutorial was useful for you, please consider giving it a like, and I might make more tutorials like this one. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you again in the next one. See you later!